Okay, so when you open up DaVinci Resolve, you'll get this screen here, and you can then decide, to create a new project. I've created the project and called it green screen. That's all I've done. And when the project opens, it usually opens on, I can't remember what screen, possibly video editing screen or the cut screen, whatever it's going to be, one of these screens. But you want to go to the first button down here, which is where you bring in your footage. So you navigate to your footage over here. Okay, once you've navigated to your footage, you find the clip that you're interested in. So I've just gone the wrong way. So where's my Chroma key? There's the piece of footage I want to use. Just drag it down here into this section here. So that's now added it to the project. So this is just finding the project. This is actually adding it to the project. And then you need to create a timeline from it. So you're going to say, I'm going to edit with this if you like. Right click on it. And then right at the top, you've got create new timeline using selected clips. And what it'll do is it'll create a timeline. You can give it a name, whatever you want to do, and it'll base it, you see, based on selected media. So if your media is not normal, or it's not sort of whatever the standard settings of DaVinci Resolve, it will actually change those. Okay, so you use the project settings. Then I click in create. The item has been created, and you can see that by going to this third button, which is the video editing button. And you can see here's your timeline, and you've got all the things that go here. Okay, so just turn off effects at the moment. So that is your project, your piece of footage that I've got that I'm ready to actually green screen. Now I'm not going to green screen it or try and even green screen it over here in this particular editing section. I want to do it inside of the Fusion section, which is where you've got much more control. So if you go to Fusion, there it is. So basically what it's saying is this is your input and this is your output. Okay, and if you can't see this, by the way, it's under effects. So that's what all of that stuff down here is all about. So this is input. This is what the item coming in, and this is the item going out. And anything you do between in and out will adjust the clip so it can be seen elsewhere. Okay, there are two views inside of here. You've got a spare view here to look at a separate tool, and this is the other view. If you just want to see one view, by the way, you can click this button up here, which will just show one view. I'll leave it at 2, but you can just do that. Okay, so I want to green screen her. The best one really to get going with ordinary green screen, it's under matte controls, by the way. So just under matte here, you've got different options. So if you go down, you'll find right at the bottom of that, you've got Ultra key. Now, if you select the first one here, it's going to add it into the chain immediately afterwards. So you select that and you hit Ultra key. By the way, a quick way of getting this, just so that you know, is if you hold the Shift key and spacebar, tap the spacebar, you can actually write out what you want to do. So I looked at crop earlier, but you can just type Ultra inside of here. Ultra, and you'll see the Ultra key is the only one's there, and just click add and it does the same thing. So if I had to click that, it'll put it there, but if I do it this way, it'll do it there. So whatever is selected, it'll add it to. And the controls are over here. And background color, in other words, the color you want to get rid of is this little picker, and you click and hold the picker and drag it across. By the way, you can't just click it and let go, it won't work. You have to click, hold and drag it across, and you can see all sorts of things are going on as you go around the various bits of green that you want to do to get the best result. You can, just as long as you don't let go of the mouse, you can see which one's going to give you the best kind of result. I think over here is actually pretty good. Okay, so that's given me the basic controls. There are other items or other bits and pieces you can play around with. You've got sort of image options, you've got matte options. You might want to, for example, post multiply it to get a better look or a different look. Depends what you want to go with. You can invert the matte as well. You can do all sorts of things. Now, if you invert the matte, you can see that it's not a great matte. So what you can do is you can actually play with this one here where it says threshold. So this basically says at this end it's going to push what should be transparent, more transparent. If I push this, it's sort of pushing transparency more transparent. You can see that here in her whatever this is that she's wearing. You can see that's going more transparent the further up I go. You don't want to go too far. But this one over here is basically, it makes the white, or it makes what should be opaque more opaque. So if I pull this one down, you'll see that things get more and more opaque very quickly until you go too far, it becomes really opaque. So that's how you play with the end results. And you can also say post multiply afterwards or whatever you want to play with. But that's basically the Chroma key. But if I go back to the timeline over here, you'll see that's not worked. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add in a background so you can see what's going on. So that's where I had the tools, the effects. So here's effects. And you've got one that's called background, or under generators actually is what it's under. So if you actually go under generators, It's solid color. I'm just going to drag it underneath. I'm going to take it all the way across. With that selected, I'm going to choose the color, and I'm going to choose a very obvious color, so yellow, and then click OK. So you can actually see what's going on. Now clearly, I've still got problems because this wasn't masked off properly. So how do we mask it off inside of Fusion? It's simple. You just go to Fusion again. With Ultra Key selected, you still are in this Tools section, but under the Matte section. Okay, under the Matte section, or you can actually look it up, but you've actually got this one called Matte Control. And there is Matte Control. Okay, so Matte Control has got a whole bunch of different inputs, one of which is this section at the bottom, which might be closed, but you can open it up, which is the Garbage Matte. And the Garbage Matte is where you add a mask around the item. Okay, so with this selected, I'm going to choose the Polygon tool, which is this thing here. Okay, make sure it's gone to the Garbage Matte. It may not have done. So what you can do is you can click off and you can grab this and drag it onto the tool and hold the Alt key. And when you let go, you're going to Garbage Matte. That's the one you want, which you can see is that color. So that's basically saying I'm going to use this to mask out what I don't want. So all I need to do now is actually draw the mask. So I'm going to draw a mask something like this. Down here, down here, down here, down here, down here. Boom, boom. Okay, now, boom, she's disappeared. Oh dear, what's gone on? Go back to the Matte Control, invert the Garbage Matte, and everything else is gone. Okay, now you might need to animate that Garbage Matte. And what I mean by that is if you were to play the playhead through, so you can see I've actually applied it halfway through, but if I go to the beginning, is this still in? Isn't it still in? But it will animate. Okay, so if you've got the matte selected, and let's just do a silly example. If I take this one here and just pull it over here, you'll see that as I go through, it animates in and out. But what you haven't done, you can clearly see, actually, I've got a problem here. I need to pull that one out at this stage here. Okay, so we've done a lot. And I can see at the beginning, I need to pull that one out as well. And I probably need to pull that one down as well. Okay, so you can see you might need to go through and make changes, and as you pull through, it makes these little white marks, which is basically saying where the animation has taken place. You aren't done because you still want to have a soft edge. Okay, so a soft edge will make a matte far less obvious. So if you have used a garbage matte of some sort, and you don't want it to be obvious, you want to put a soft edge onto the end result. Now, you don't want to go crazy because you'll start bringing things in and start matting out the actual object you want. You should need a bit to give it a bit of a soft edge so that it becomes invisible over time. And if it's showing a bit too much one way or the other, you've got this one called border width, which basically moves the border one way or the other. So if I move it this way, I'm going to go over her. If I move it the other way, I'm going to come up over the other thing. And if you click this little dot, it takes it back to the original position. Okay, so that's basically done it. If I now go back to my timeline, you see that there is the Chroma key applied with a background. If you don't want a background, you can obviously just get rid of that particular clip. It's entirely up to you. Or you can actually do the editing here, but whatever you want to do. When it comes to exporting it, let's get rid of that background. Oops, there we go. So we've just got her inside there. I seem to have got rid of both things, excuse me. Do Control Z, select that. Backspace. There we go. So backspace, got rid of that. So I've now got the actual thing that I want to do, but I want to export it. This last button, the rocket button, is actually the export. And when you export it, you've got a whole bunch of custom options at the top. So you've got H.264, etc., etc., etc. So you can actually pull through all of those and see which ones you actually want to do. The issue you're going to have is obviously that if you want to export it with an alpha channel, you've got to be very careful what you select to use, because H.264 will not support that. So you need to choose an appropriate setting that will actually support it. So QuickTime probably will support it. So you've got to choose which codec you want to use. I'll probably choose GoPro Cineform, which is quite a good one for this sort of thing. And I will need to choose which one they've got. So I'm going to choose the RGB 16, and I'm going to export 30 frames. I'll say export alpha as well. And we've got advanced settings down here, etc. So you can go through all of those. When you're ready to go, add to render queue. It says, where do you want to save it? I'll just save it to my desktop at the moment. Just call it timeline 1. Here is the item ready to go. And then you just click render all once you're ready to go. So I'll render that out. Doesn't take long. This is real time, live. Okay. So now I've got the final clip. which is on my desktop here. I double click to play it in Media Player. There you go. There you can see that that's actually the final item with the alpha channel still intact, so I could use that somewhere else if I wanted to. It's a very high quality output, this, by the way. If you want to see if it really does work, if I bring it back into Resolve, so if I go back to the first button here, I go to my desktop, there is the item here. So if I actually bring that in and I was to right click on that and create a new timeline from selected clip, call it timeline 2, create, yep, that's fine. If I go to the fusion button on that particular one, boom, you can see that it's definitely got an alpha channel. So it's a 1920 by 1080 and it's definitely got an alpha channel. You can see that it's worked. So the final version is this, which is the one that you could then use. Because you have exported it with an alpha channel with something like GoPro Cineform, which is an extremely high quality codec, you can then use it without any worry of generation decay or anything like that when you use it in a video editor later on. So that's a whistle-stop tour of doing a basic chroma key inside of DaVinci Resolve. I believe it's in the free version. Can't say for certain. This is the paid-for version, but I'll be honest with you. I paid what 275 quid or something for the full version, and I got it at version 9. This is version 19, and I've never paid for an update. So it's definitely worth having. Hope this is helpful, and thanks very much for watching.